Hey guys, it's Vanessa and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm sharing with you all of the prep to help set me up for a successful week. In an effort to start eating healthier, I'd like to be better prepared with snacks and having alternate options in the freezer for the nights when those meal plans don't quite turn out. And if you want the most amazing oatmeal raisin cookie of your life, stay tuned till the end. First off, I'm sharing with you our family favorite smoothie packs. All of these bags of frozen fruit were on sale at my local supermarket. When they do that, I like to stock up so that I can make things like smoothie packs. The very first one that I'm going to do is just a straight up 4-berry smoothie pack. In all of my packs, I like to add about 1 full cup of frozen fruit, depending on what I'm making, half or an entire banana and some spinach. Then all you need to do is add any liquids or hemp seeds or flax seeds or anything like that after the fact when you're blending it in the blender. I only had a handful of spinach left in the fridge, so not all of my smoothie packs are getting spinach, but you get the general idea. Also, I read somewhere that it's a good idea to leave your berries on the very bottom of the bag so that when you take them out of the freezer, it's easier to crumple up with your hands before putting it into the blender. Now, obviously, these recipes, and I say that lightly, are open to interpretation. These are just the mixtures that I know over time that my family enjoy. This one I'm calling a tropical smoothie because it has mango and pineapple, and I like to throw a few strawberries in almost all of my smoothies just because we really like the flavor. And I'll throw half a banana, and here's a tropical smoothie. Now I realize this isn't very original. I just like the 4-berry blend, but I also like a few more blueberries. So anybody in my house who likes a little heavier blueberry smoothie would opt for this one. Now all of these can be used with orange juice, almond milk, coconut milk, regular milk, cashew milk, basically any liquid that you want to use. You could throw some ice if you want to make it a little extra frothy. Sometimes I would even add this with one of my premier proteins. I'm telling you, the possibilities are endless. And of course, I had to go with the traditional strawberry banana, 1 whole banana, 1 whole cup of frozen strawberries. And depending on how liquid or fluid you want it, it depends on how much liquid you add at the time when you're making your smoothie. And that's just trial and error. So here you go. I got roughly 3 packs of each, and all I do is I have a large basket that I'll store all the extra fruit because I didn't use it all up, and the smoothie packs themselves, and this sits right in my deep freeze, easy for anyone to access. Now, guaranteed, if you are not new to my channel, you have seen me talk about and make pizza bagels. For me, I like to use a lower end or no name bagel because they tend to be a little bit thinner, and I find the thicker ones, they just don't toast up as well in the oven. I'm also using these Costco containers. This is what I make and freeze them in. For my sauce, I like to mimic kind of a craft pizza kit, which is just pizza sauce, oregano, and grated Parmesan. I love this bottle of the Squeeze Primo pizza sauce, hence because it squeezes and it just makes my life so much easier. I do go over it with a spoon just to smooth it out before I shake on all the cheese and oregano, just so there's more surface area to cover. As for toppings, the sky really is the limit. Personally, I like to just do probably 3 or 4 because they can pile up pretty high. I'm just using this ready crumbled bacon and some pepperoni. The one thing I would suggest is to cover the little bagel hole with a piece of pepperoni because sometimes when you cook it, the cheese will go through the middle. So I average about 6 slices of pepperoni per half of bagel, and then I will top it off with my cheese, and I will add my vegetables on top of the cheese. It's a way that I know what kind of bagel is in the container, or the kids know, because heaven forbid they get a veggie one instead of meat. I neglected to film the cheese, but all I'm using is a Tex-Mex blend. I find that gives the best flavor. Here it is, guys. When the toppings fall off a little bit, which they barely do unless you put it on its side, to which they would all fall off, you just simply sprinkle them back on when you put it on your cookie sheet to bake it in the oven. These cook right from frozen at 425 for about 15 minutes. They are amazing, and especially in the air fryer. You see here, everything fits perfectly, and I'm stocked back up. Watch me All right, let's talk meatballs. Basically, anytime I make meatballs at home and I have extra, I do this. I throw it in a Ziploc bag and I freeze them. But when I'm feeling a little ambitious, like I was this weekend, I will make a batch specifically just for the freezer. So take a look here. I have probably about 2 to 3 pounds of ground beef, and I am just coating it in ketchup and barbecue sauce. I do not have measurements, you guys. I basically kind of look at my meat and give it a good covering of all of my favorite ingredients. I've got ketchup, mustard, Worcestershire sauce. I love garlic, you guys know that, so I've always add a couple tablespoons of that. Some minced onion. I find I prefer this to chopping up fresh onion, especially when I'm freezing it. I'm gonna add some dried basil, some dried oregano, a little bit of garlic powder over and above the garlic I've already added, and lots of pepper. You guys know that I love pepper. I don't like to add any binding agents like eggs or breadcrumbs, but if you are looking to stretch your meat and make this go a little bit further, by all means, add a couple of eggs and about 3/4 cups of breadcrumbs and you'll be all set. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix this up with my hands as good as I can, and then we're gonna move to the next step, which is using this little kind of mid-sized cookie scoop, and I'm gonna scoop them all onto this cookie sheet, and then I will roll them out with my hands.
All we got is here and now, so give it all you got. Don't you pay them any mind, close your eyes, follow the sound. Keep it coming through the night, we don't need to slow down.
Now, if I were to sit here and roll each one between my hands individually, it would take quite a while. So all I'm doing, and I have this sped up, so I'm sorry about that, is basically I'm tossing it from one palm to the next about 3 different times, squeezing it gently, just to give it this kind of rustic shape. I mean, they're meatballs, right? They're supposed to look kind of fun and rustic.
Give you what you need if you stay.
You're going to want to bake these at 425 for about 20 minutes. When they come out, set them aside until they cool, and then we're going to place them back onto a separate cookie sheet, or in my case, I put them into a Pyrex dish. Whenever you're going to freeze something all together in one bag, you want to flash freeze it. So set it in the freezer, separated either on a cookie sheet like I said, or like this, for about 4 hours until they are individually frozen, and then I'm going to transfer them to a gallon Ziploc bag. Guys, for me, I just don't like pre-made meatballs like Great Value or other brands. I really prefer to do it this way. And now I know I will have these for a meal this week if I need them. All right, so I've basically covered breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now we need snacks. I really wanted to have all of my produce prepped and ready to go. So I have this watermelon I'm gonna cut up and put into this Rubbermaid Freshworks container, which you guys know I rave about constantly. I have a ton of different sizes. They are pricey, but if you accumulate them slowly, it'll be worth it, trust me. These are some new Rubbermaid Brilliance containers that I snagged at Walmart a couple of weeks ago, and I'm just getting around to opening it up and giving them a try. This is the first time I'm going to store vegetables in them, so I will let you guys know at a later date how it works out, but I love that they seal airtight. I'm not sure how that's going to work for the vegetables, but I'm still going to give it a go. Also, I swear by my OXO salad spinner. You guys know this. I use this to wash all my produce, whether you want to use a little bit of Dawn dish liquid. Yes, I know that sounds crazy, but it will not taste like soap. Or you want to use some vinegar. It's up to you what you want to use to disinfect and clean your produce. But I love this salad spinner. I swear by it. You can grab it on Amazon. Here, I'm just going to go ahead and layer in the vegetables that I enjoy. For me, I just wanted to use up this broccoli, and I know if it's not cut up, it will not just get eaten as a snack. I might use it to steam or cook with supper, but if it just sits there, nobody's going to eat it. The same with the carrots. I'll tend to buy them for dinners and then they don't get used, so I wanted to use those for carrot sticks as opposed to baby carrots, mainly to use them up, and I do like the taste of them as opposed to baby carrots. Same with the celery. Now this looks much more appealing. I know my kids will crack this open and snack on this, or I can just lay it on the coffee table with some ranch dip beside it and it'll get devoured. I am no expert at cutting watermelon, you guys, so enjoy these next few clips of me trying not to cut my hand off. So here I decided to only cube up half of my watermelon because it was just going to be Jamie and I for a couple of days. And I know if you keep it like this and it's in the skin, it will last a lot longer in the fridge. So I know when the kids get here in a couple days, I'll cut up the rest, but this one is for us to enjoy. As promised, I'm going to show you my oatmeal raisin cookie recipe, but I wanted to pop in really quickly and remind you what my favorite coffee is right now, which is basically 3 parts cold brew and 1 part premium protein. It's just been a really good way for me to avoid sugar and dairy because you guys know I love to have a heaping teaspoon of sugar in my coffee in the morning. But this has really helped with my headaches and my gut rot. I'm telling you, it's so good. Any cold brew will do. I've tried Starbucks, I've tried this Stoke or Stock. They're all amazing.
TEMVTED tempted. I was tempted.
Here it is. Grab a screenshot because you are going to want to make these for the rest of your life. Okay, get over yourself, Vanessa. But honestly, you guys, I've been making these for 20 years. They're my favorite recipe. I couldn't even begin to tell you where I got it from. I'm pretty sure it's a mishmash of different recipes and my own take. That tends to be most of the recipes in that book that I just showed you, which, like I said, is from 2004 and has been an accumulation of all of my favorite things. Now, what I like about this cookie recipe is you can't mess it up. There's no make sure you cream the butter and the sugar and then add this and make sure you do this for 3 to 5 minutes. You add everything to the bowl except your flour and your raisins and you mix it up. Then you add your flour and your raisins and you mix it up and then you spoon it on your cookie sheet. It's super easy, you guys. Absolutely easy. Now all I've done so far is add in my brown sugar and my oatmeal and kind of gave it a little gentle mix. I need about a cup of butter and I'm going to melt that, not until it's completely melted. There's still a few chunks in there. It's fine. It's just to help make it easier to mix. I did go ahead and whisk up the 2 eggs because I'm going to throw those in there as well, and it's just easier than trying to mess with the yolk when it's already in your mixture. Now throughout this, I just kind of gently take my fork and give it a little slight mix. It's really hard to overmix at this point. There's no flour in there that's going to cause your cookie to be tough anyway, so you're safe. I'm going to add a little bit of baking soda. It does only call for a teaspoon of cinnamon, but in the history of making these cookies, I always add double what they call for. You may not want to if you're not a big cinnamon fan. I also added a very tiny pinch of salt because I used salted butter as opposed to unsalted. And the vanilla, again, when I bake, I always just kind of pour it in there because I love it. I'm measuring out my flour. And did you guys know the best way to measure flour is to spoon it? I made a breakfast cookie for my What's for Breakfast collab that I did with Audrey from Oddly Simple. I will leave that down below if you want to check that out. Those are amazing as well. But I had to use my hands for that. It's just better to make sure everything is evenly combined and mixed together. Now I'm using the same scoop I used for the meatballs, the medium cookie scoop, and I'm just going to plop them right on the cookie sheet, and then I will gently press them down to kind of help them. But they do fall quite a bit because there's a lot of sugar in them, and it gives that caramel edge when I leave kind of the edges around that the spoon creates when I drop the cookie. That gives it that crispy little edge. It's so good, you guys. You're going to bake these at 375 for anywhere from 9 to 12 minutes. Totally depends on your oven. I have a convection oven. These were done in about 11 minutes. I probably would have cooked them another minute or so just to give them a little bit of a crispier edge, but they were perfect. So good. The next thing I'm going to do with my remaining batter is I'm going to freeze the dough. Yes, I am using a colossal ice cream scoop for these because when I have freezer cookies, this is just what I want. If I'm going in the freezer to make myself a cookie, it's going to be substantial, okay? Basically, I ended up with about 9 cookies left in batter. Now these I am flattening pretty good because they will be frozen when I bake them, so they need a little bit more encouragement. I stuck them in the freezer for about 4 hours. I'm gonna pull them out, throw them in a gallon Ziploc bag, mark them as per the temperature that they need to be and how long they need to be cooked so that anyone in my house can grab one, throw it on the cookie sheet and bake it up. You could even throw these in your air fryer, you guys. Anyway, can you tell I'm excited? I'm gonna double bag them just to make sure they don't get freezer burn, but you guys, they're not gonna last that long. What is it that I always say about food prep? It doesn't have to be complicated, but it has to be practical and it has to be functional. Do what works for your family. For me, it's about having snacks at a moment's notice, about having alternate meal arrangements, and just about feeling good about the food that I'm buying and the decisions that we're making as a family. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and it gave you a little bit of inspiration. I will see all of you in my next one. Take care.
Give me